It's actually not a rocket science. There is 3 simple rules. First, analyze the position. Second, inform the candidate. And third, inform yourself. Analyze the position means that this Jack, we didn't learn anything. Maybe he knew, but most probably not. He hadn't thought over what kind of person he needs or what this person he needs to accomplish what you select. So analyzing the position means that you have to have a clear understanding what this person needs to achieve, what are the requirements to do this, and what are the competencies to do this in best possible way. Then inform the candidate. You should use part of this information, what you have from position analysis, to inform the candidate. And of course, inviting the candidate to the interview without informing him about everything, about your business, is quite strange. You should share all possible information at this stage, which is not highly confidential, which you can't share. And of course, you should inform yourself. You mean, if you invite candidate in and you haven't read the CV, which is very often the case, unfortunately, this is you are just unprepared. You should read everything what you have about the candidate and compare it with the position map or position analysis what you have, and think what you can decide based on the information you have already, or what you need to add from the interview. What do you need to ask to clarify? For example, they might have written in their CV that they are professionals in project management, and you have a project management capacity is a requirement in your job profile. But what does it mean? It might mean hundreds of different things. So you better find out what kind of projects, how big, with how many people, for how long this person has managed. So this is the thing. You see project management mentioned in the CV, but you want to know what it actually means. But how many interviews you need overall? How many times you need to meet a candidate before you make the hiring decision? So my understanding is that 3 is enough. There is quite common understanding. If you Google this question, you read about the Google, the company who was one of those who thought that more interviews is better, and they analyzed their results and they decided that no more than 4 is necessary. And if I think about it, I think actually I can't think of anything what you should ask on 4th interview, what you couldn't ask on the 3rd. And what I think what people mean when they talk about 4 interviews, they think of 4 people evaluating the final candidates. And I agree with this, that if you have 4 people evaluating the final candidates, it's better than 3, but you don't need 4 interviews for this. And for example, yes, screening interview is the one where you find out whether this candidate is available and has this qualities what you are looking for. The main interview is then where you should actually find out everything what you need to evaluate the candidates and compare them and make your decision. And then finally, you might need a business interview to discuss your actual challenges. You might give them some additional information about your status of the area they are going to manage, and discuss how they would handle the challenges. And then if you want to 4 people involved, you can invite. There is always one person who makes the decision. It can't be a collective decision. It's the hiring manager, the one person who selects the subordinate to himself. And if he wants input from 4 people, for example, or 5, he can invite 2 or 3 of them to join the main interview and just sit in there and listen and add their evaluations to the according to agreed criteria. and 2 others to the business interview. And then you have like 4 or 5 people's input. But there is no reason to waste the candidate's time and let the other managers ask the same kind of questions or tell me about what you have been doing. This is just stupid.
Mm-hmm. We have 2 thoughts, if I might read them out. So
Yes.
James mentioned that passive candidates often need more, in his experience, very different to active, like more interviews, as I'm understanding. What do you think about this?
Well, what I am talking about is well, I am working only with passive candidates, actually, meaning like this is the majority of the they are not candidates before I call them and ask them whether they would consider moving, and then they would say that well if it's very interesting thing maybe, and then I would ask what is the interesting thing they would consider, and if they describe something similar what I have in mind, then I tell them at all why I called them. If not, then I might say that well, I understand now. I will call you next time when I have something suitable for you. But this is what I call screening interview. It's like a 10-15 minute talk, and after that, if they say that well, this is something I would think about, I will send them some briefing pack about the company, about the business, about the position. And when after that they say that yes, I want to talk about this, I would consider it seriously, then I will make the main interview. And then if I decide afterwards that this is a good candidate for the shortlist, then I will hand it over to client, and then the client does these 2 interviews, the main interview and the business interview. That's what I mean. And to my understanding and my practice, it's totally sufficient. And the clients who make more than these 2 interviews, I can't stop them somehow, but I'm actually feeling that they waste the valuable time of the candidates. Okay, now let's talk about the main interview here. The main interview then, after you have decided, the candidate has decided, he has got the information, and you come together for an hour or 90 minutes, and you have a panel, or you are on your own. Usually there is a panel, actually, I would say. So first you introduce and explain the purpose and plan, so how long and what we want to achieve. And second, you then ask if they have questions about the role and business. You don't do the presentation, but you just ask. You got the information about our company, about the position. Do you have any questions? And of course, you have to answer if there are questions. Then you ask the questions you need for evaluation. This is the key part, actually, why you need the interview. You ask the questions you have prepared, not just random. You don't ask them about their hobbies. So you ask only the questions you need for evaluation. You don't ask them to tell the story of their career because you have read the CV anyway. You might want to ask for some clarifications or some details. And finally, you ask if they want to add something else. There might be not something important, but perhaps they have prepared a nice pitch about themselves, that I'm a great team player or something, and they want to perform it. And finally, you have handled the practical things, which are the things, if you haven't asked about the salary level they are used to, or notice period or whatever. And of course, you have to say what are the things will follow on now. When should they expect to hear from you? What are the next steps in the decision-making process, and so on. So that's it. So, but the core thing is the questions you need for evaluation. And let's a little bit elaborate about this. The good question, actually, the one good question is this. This is, again, suggested by Lo Adler, with whom I like pretty much. if you ask the person like this, so now you know about the role we are talking about, what would be your main challenge in this role? And can you find something in your career what is closest to this, what you have done earlier? And then you dig into this maybe 10, 15 minutes in detail. You understand what this person did. And that's basically, if you would need to choose only one question, this one question will do the work. And I will give you some other sample questions here just for thinking. This is a bad thing to ask. What is your approach to problem solving? So what do you think of this or that? This is irrelevant. Have you read something about problem solving, or what does it tell you? Not much. You should better ask like this: describe a situation where you had to solve a complex problem. This is so much better. And again, when the candidate starts answering in general terms, you should guide them to really talking about concrete examples. And another one: what is your opinion about performance management? I have heard this myself on a final interview, where actually the idea was that the executive should find out how good the person is in accountability or ensuring accountability competency. But he asked something which was not informative at all. So what are the better ways to ask this? Look at this. Can you remember a situation where you had to handle an underperforming subordinate? You ask about a concrete question, and you understand whether this person has the idea how to do it or not. And then clarify. Please describe your action and describe the outcome.
Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, you can contact us at support@wisnio.com.